Okay, so I want to focus on the UK here. So I went into King's College London and looked for undergraduate entry requirements. So again, you're looking, when you look at university websites, you're looking at undergraduate entry requirements or international undergraduate entry requirements. In this case, it was, I went into study, apply undergraduate entry requirements, and then English language entry requirements. So they're usually buried a couple of, at least 3 or 4 deep. And so if you look at King's, it looks in the UK, there's certain bands, so you can kind of look at that. Band A is usually the highest, so let's just take a quick look. That's the dentistry band. So if you're talking about things that are more tougher courses, then they're going to have tougher things that you need to get and possibly higher scores. So let's look at band B. That's where most of you are going to end up. So Faculty of Arts and Humanities, Business School, Nutrition and Dietetics, Physiotherapy, Pharmacy, okay, Social Science, Public Law, School of Law, stuff like that. And then here's the tests below are valid. They've been taken in the previous 2 years. So you got your IELTS, you got your TOEFL, right? Now these down here are King's Foundation, so that's a foundation program. So this is it, right? So you've got to have you've got to have these things, right? Either an IELTS or the TOEFL, and this allows you the home edition. So this is where King's has made the accommodation for COVID, so you can have the home edition part of it. Okay, let's look down at band C and see what that has. Okay, it's only for postgraduate programs, right? And then band D. This band applies to the programs within biomedical sciences. So it looks like a lot of medical and biomedical sciences. Okay. And then similar test, but perhaps a little different score. Okay, so sometimes it also depends on your course. Okay, that you have taken. Let me see if baccalaureate, no, okay. International school level language course. Okay, so let me go back up and show you that. So that's regular. Now, some schools may also say IB. So let's go back up to band B, and they have that, and then they found King's Foundations. You can ignore that. Okay, and then they have A-level International Baccalaureate and GCSE. So you can go down here and say, oh, International Baccalaureate. So English language, literature. Okay, so if you have a higher level of 4 or a standard level of 5, and that's predicted score, and that should be the final score as well, then you don't have to submit anything. So for King's, if you have at least a 4 predicted for a higher level English or a standard or a 5 on a standard level English, then you've met the English proficiency requirement. So you don't have to submit a score. This is actually pretty typical for a lot of universities. So you want to be looking, when you're looking, you want to, you'll see that they'll accept the IELTS or the TOEFL, but you also want to look for something that's IB related. And a lot of times they'll have, if your predicted score is a certain level in English, then you've met the requirement. For a lot of students in past years who've gone to UK, that's how they've met the requirement. Students in the last couple of years haven't necessarily known about this and have then thought that they have to take the IELTS. So that's not necessarily the case. But again, you have to check with each university. Some are more flexible than others. King's has a wide array. Let's go ahead and look at a different school. This is the University of Bristol. And here they have the same thing. Let me go back. So they have profile A and B, right? Here's the profiles on the side, right? So I went to English language requirements for study, right? So I went into study at Bristol and then English language requirements for study. And here's your profiles, right? And I'm going to go to profile B because that's most appropriate. English language proficiency tests. Okay, so they accept the IELTS and the TOEFL, Cambridge, Trinity, that sort of thing. Okay, and then the tests continue. Now this is where they've done some interesting things because of COVID. And so there's the IELTS indicator and there's the TOEFL at home. So you can take the TOEFL at home as well. Okay, so international school qualifications. here we go. Let's see if, nope, not in there. Let's see on here if they have the International Baccalaureate. No. Let's see, undergraduate. Okay. Undergraduate admission. So then there's other things. So there's lots of different ways that students can meet that. I'm sure there's the IB somewhere in here, International. Let's look under here. European Baccalaureate. Let's see. Okay, I can't find it in here, but there should be, if you can take some time to look on here, there could be an IB if you have a certain score on an IB, but you'll have to look at it. But there's lots of different ways that you can qualify to show that you have met their English requirement. Now, if you just want to be sure, you can go ahead and just take the TOEFL or the IELTS. I can say for most of the UK schools, they accept both. And for your in order to get a visa to England to study in the UK, either one will work. So it doesn't matter which one you take. If you just want to say, hey, I just want to take it just in case I come across a school that requires it, that won't take IB, that just requires it, then I would say in your senior year, beginning of your senior year, or over the summer, if test centers are open, then you want to take one of those two tests. If they're not, it looks like at least a couple of schools allow you to take the TOEFL at home edition. And so that would be a good one that you could take as well. And then you kind of hope that most UK schools will accept that. You may come across a school that won't. You might come across a school that accepts Duolingo rather than home edition for the TOEFL. But that's really gonna, you won't know that ahead of time. And that's why I say these are English language tests that you'll do well in. You want to look up the format, but you should do very, very well in them. And so I would put them off until the beginning of your senior year, so that you sort of have your list of schools ahead of time. If some of you are going to shoot for the January 15th deadline date for UK schools, then maybe you want to push off taking one of these tests until like October, November. And then you can have the score and then put the score into your application. But again, some schools need the score. Some schools just depend on your predicted scores. But I recommend that you do once you have your list of schools and you see what's there. If you just really don't want to hassle with keeping track of who wants what, you need to keep track of what tests they'll accept. And then you go and take that test that all of your schools will accept so that you make sure that you're covered. So that's probably the best recommendation to make.